With Anderson's Prettywater Farms, and I thought today I would show you something out in the greenhouse. What I'm doing here today is transplanting tomatoes. Now I started out with these tomatoes in these little deals, and I planted them from seed here, and these seeds here are Marglobe, which is a heirloom tomato. It's it's a determinate style tomato, which means it's only going to get so high. And if people's familiar with celebrity tomatoes, where they're about that size, they're just a nice 7-ounce, 8-ounce tomato, just a real good tomato. And I love them. We got three types of tomatoes. We got the Garden Delight, and we got the Parks Whopper. And the reason why we like the Parks Whoppers is Sharon, my wife, her maiden name's Parks, so that's why we do that. And then we do the Marglobe. And the other two, the Garden Delight and the Parks Whopper, they're indeterminate, which means they just grow. They just get huge, and they'll grow right out of your stands, and as long as they're producing, they'll just keep growing. And the Parks Whopper, it will get about 14 ounces. So those tomatoes are huge, and they'll almost be a pound if they're growing well. And then the Garden Delight is the little cherry tomato, but they're large cherry tomatoes. I don't like picking those little bitty tomatoes. It just don't seem like it's worthwhile. So I like picking something that's pretty good size, but will still work as a salad tomato. So they're about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. So they make a good, you can slice them in half and put them on your salads and stuff, and that's what I like. But what I do is I start with one of these, which is let's see, I think I got one over here, still in the package. I start with these right here, and it's got a little top on it and everything, and I will fill it full of planting soil. And I just buy that Jiffy kind. Let's see. This right here, seed starting mix, and that seems to work good for me. Just any seed starting mix, and I'll fill this thing full, and then I'll take what I do is I normally put it in a saucer. The little seeds are so small that I'll take a saucer, and I'll take a pair of tweezers and put a couple of seeds in each one, just in case one of them don't germinate. Then I'll have twice the chance. And then I'll put my seeds in there. And in this case, I had Parks Whoppers here, and then my Marglobe, which is my main tomato, I have it going all the way here. And then on the back side over here, I've got my little Garden Delights back here. And then what I normally do, and there's 72 spaces on this thing, but since I plant 2 seeds, what will happen is most of the time I'll get 2 plants. So so I'll have over 100 plants in this container. And so like right here, I've just some of the extra ones, I pull them out, and if you're real gentle, you can just gently pull on them, and they'll just come out root and all. And you can just put a container. In this case, I had these containers, and so I just used these, and stick my finger in there and wallow out a little hole and slide that little plant down in there with some. And then what I normally do is I'll put them under light for until I get about this size right here. I like to see second and third stage taking place on these little tomatoes, and then what I use is styrofoam cups, and my brother-in-law, he started doing this, and I just followed his process, and I just poke you can set these upside down just like that right there, and if you got a knife like this, I just take a little knife and just shove it down in there, and then I'll give it a little twist like that, and that will make a nice little hole in the bottom of these cups. And you know, depending on the length of your blade, it'll go down. If you got a stack of them here, you can crank it on down there, but this here blade here will do about 4 of them. So, and then I'll fill them full. And what I use on that now, on the just on the starting mix, the seed mix, I use that stuff there. But when I go to putting it in these cups, what I do, and I use these cups over and over again. Like last year I had Better Boys in here, but and this year I got Marglobe. But what I do on this kind of stuff, because that seed starter is pretty expensive, I just take I buy me a bag of peat moss. That's what this right here. I buy a bag of peat moss, and then I buy a bag of potting soil. In this case, I got Miracle Grow potting soil there, 50-pound bag or whatever it is there, and I use that, and I just put 50-50. I'll grab me a big handful of peat moss and stick it in the bucket, and then I'll grab a big handful of potting soil, stick it in the bucket, and just mix it up, and just keep doing that until I get about a 5-gallon bucket full. And then what I do is I set those in here, and I got little trays. I buy these little trays, and that holds the water. It's just like this one here. Let me get I buy these little trays right here. I think you can buy them for $1, $1.25 or something. And I just put my cups in them like that right there. And it's got the hole in the bottom. So initially I'll pour water in these, and that's what this has got in it. It's got a lot of water in the bottom of it down here, but eventually it'll soak up, but it won't soak up enough. So I'll take let's see, I use something like this right here. Just a little, and what I'll do is I'll just take that and I'll just pour it in there like so, and water the top real good and let it soak in, and then I'll transplant these deals here. And what I do on transplanting them, I'll take a let's say like this one right here. Let me move this tray out of the way because it's done. These are ready to go over here. That, say like this one here. So I got this one all ready to go. And what I do is I just take the back side of a spoon, and I'll take my finger and just poke a good little hole in here like so. Wall it around, get a good little cavity in there. And I'll just take this little tool, stick it in there, pull that out, and there you go. You got a nice little plant that you grew from seed. And stick it in there like so. And I'll make sure I mark all these. These are all going to be Marglobes, so I know that that's going to be a Marglobe. But the Marglobe, it's an heirloom tomato, and I love heirloom tomatoes. Last year we planted 2 or 3 different varieties, but we had so much rain last year. It was a terrible year for tomatoes. I had them down low in the garden, so most of them didn't do very well. And but this year I got them up at the top of the garden, so we'll probably have a drought year, but I can irrigate, so I don't have a problem with that. But anyway, Marglobe, they were made back, God designed these back in, I think, around World War I, 1917 or something like that. And I think they're about the size of a celebrity tomato. If any of y'all's familiar with celebrities, that's one of my favorites. And the Marglobe, I believe, is what they used to make celebrities, a hybrid. Celebrity's a hybrid. And so I think that it derived from the Marglobe. So, but they're just a great little tomato, and well, that's what we're going to, the majority of our tomatoes is going to be Marglobe this year. The tomatoes will be about that big around, and they're good for canning, they're good for sandwiches, they're just a good slicing tomato, good all-around tomato. So I'm looking forward to eating some of them this year. And but anyway, that's how I do my tomatoes. I seed in here. I fill this thing full of seeding mix, and then I'll take a little pair of tweezers, and I'll put my seed in a saucer because they're so small, and then I'll pick up a seed with that pair of tweezers, and I'll stick it in there about 1/4 of an inch deep. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just barely set it in there, and then I'll come back with a little layer of potting mix on top of it, and that does well. And also I've got my peppers over here. I'll show you them. This is my peppers this year. I've got bell and jalapeno. These are my jalapenos, and then these are my bells. And they're peppers. For me, they're hard to grow. I just when you're starting them from seed, I just have a difficult time with them. But these, it seems to be doing pretty good this year. So, and I do them the same way, but I'll put one in one corner and one in the other corner. Like right here, there's 2 here, there's 2 in here, 2 in there. And then when I go to from these, I won't put these in a cup or anything. I'll just let these grow, because this is March 21st, and so probably in about 2 weeks I'll be planting these little rascals, or in the middle of April probably, when temperature's got to get up there in the soil pretty good. So if we have some real good warm temps, I might be able to plant these probably around the middle of April, so 3 weeks from now or so. So and by then they'll be up here about this tall, you know, so they'll probably be, here's their second stage going on, so they'll probably have 3 or 4 stages, and they'll look a pretty good little plant. This will be a full plant. I've got some broccoli and stuff out here. Let me grab one of these and I'll show you that. These here are my broccoli. In this particular flat, I got cabbage from here this way and broccoli from here this way. So what I normally do is I got 2 full trays of each of these. So I'll try to plant about 100 cabbages and 100 broccolis, and that's about 2 rows in my garden each. So that'll be a lot of cabbage and a lot of broccoli. Family and friends, and we also provide for the community a little bit. And so But I do these primarily the same way. I will start them out with the seeding mix, and that's what in this little tray right here. And but with these, I don't transfer these either to the big cups or anything. Like I said, this is March 21st, and these things are ready to go in the ground. So the first chance I get, right now, we had a rain yesterday, I believe, so or day before, so the ground's wet. But as soon as it dries enough for me to get in there, I'll be planting these things. And if anybody's familiar with cabbage or broccoli plants, I mean, they get huge and just a beautiful plant. But I'm looking forward to planting these things and getting these in the ground. So that's how I do my planting. I plant in these here, and sometimes I use the larger ones, like I showed you with my peppers, and that way I can just leave them in those containers. I don't have to transplant them. But in these right here, these small ones, the tomatoes, like before I plant these tomatoes, it'll be about the same time I plant them peppers over there, so they'll probably be about this high, and that'll be in about 3 weeks or so. So they definitely are going to need a larger pot like this right here. And I think these are either 12 ounce or probably a 12-ounce cup, and that seems to do okay. And I got some that are in 16-ounce cups, but I don't think I really need those, and they take up more space. So I think my 12-ounce cup will work. And that's just about it. I have some large tomato plants right here behind me. You can't see these, but they're all blooming out. Let me see if I can show you these. Let's see. There we go. There's my tomatoes that I've been growing. Now what I'll do with those is set these out in about the middle of April or so, when everything starts warming up and the ground warms up. I will take these out of the pots, and I got a place tilled up over there behind the house over there, and I will plant those in the out there in the ground, and that should work well. We'll have early tomatoes. And over here is my where I keep all my stuff and grow it all, and that's where all these over here, it'll fill that whole bank there of with the little plants. So anyway, that's how we do our farm up here in Anderson Prettywater Farm, and we enjoy the farm. We grow a large garden, and we have all kinds of different vegetables. We grow a lot of corn. We enjoy the Incredible. It's a very sweet corn, and 2 or 3 rows of okra, and so we have lots of okra, and the family and friends and the community, we all get our part, and I enjoyed doing it. So anyway, stay tuned and wait for the next one. Talk to you later. Bye. Yes, this is Mike Anderson. Hey, I just wanted to do a follow-up on what I've done down there in the greenhouse. We took some tomatoes, and I showed you how to do the seeds and how to transplant the plant once you get it up into the 2nd and 3rd stage, and put it into larger cups and stuff. And I showed you the cabbage and the broccoli and how to grow it, and how the containers that I use and the procedures that I use to put it from seed. And I also wanted to say that this is March 21st, and we're in the coronavirus dilemma, and I just want to let everybody know that please stay home. This is serious stuff, and I'd hate to lose any of my family members or anything due to a virus that could have been prevented. And so, you know, if we can stay home and you know, 3 weeks or a month or whatever it is, it's and still have a lifetime, years and years and years of good, wonderful life, well, then it's well worth it. And so, hope you enjoy the film. It's Anderson's Prettywater Farm, and we will follow through with our garden and our bees and anything else I can think of to make a video on. So, adios and bye-bye.